What's good, y'all? Welcome back to the Verdependent podcast, where we depend on the Verde and Black for our everyday vibes. This episode is brought to you by AC Memento. AC Memento, your digital sports and concert scrapbook. Download Memento today by following the link in the show notes or on any of our social profile bios. This week, we celebrate Austin's Open Cup semifinal victory at Minnesota United, recap the match at Frisco, and look ahead to our home game versus Seattle before closing out the episode with the stoppage time rundown, the hottest Austin FC, MLS, and World Footy storylines of the past week. I'm Logan Bartlett.
What's up, everyone? This is Paul Fletes.
How you doing, Paul?
Logan, I'm doing okay. How are you, man?
I'm doing fantastic. Mr. Fletes, tell me how you've been this week. Nothing stand
brother,
out.
I have been amazing, especially after Wednesday's win over Minnesota. It is exactly what I needed on Hump Day. And we're just flying into the last little bit of the week, dude, and it feels really good. How about you? How's your week been?
It's been fine. I'm a widow under the weather, but it's okay.
Oh, hope you feel better, G.
It is what it is, bro. I blame the children. Let's do some preheated takes. Yeah, start us off.
Let's do it, man. So for me, the man of the hour, I think, not necessarily CJ Fodry, but Owen Wolf. I have him ending the season as Austin's all-time assist provider. So, like, all-time leading assist provider. Right now, he's sitting tied with Seba at 17.
Okay.
One more gets him tied with Diego Fagundes at 18. And two more, and he breaks that top spot. So,
yeah, dude.
I think it's possible.
Question: does that count last night's or Wednesday's Open Cup assist?
Yeah, it counts as most recent assist to Bukhari, who got the goal. Yeah.
Sweet. I like that one. Well, I will talk about CJ Fodry with mine. I think Fodry will score again before season's end in some sort of decisive goal, whether that be the Open Cup in 2 weeks, the final match, or whether that be one of the last 5 games, or in the playoffs. But I don't think he's done scoring. I think he's going to continue his hot streak as a flamethrower off the bench for us. So
yeah,
I like it.
Right on, man.
Having said that, shall we get into this game?
Let's do it, dude. Absolutely.
Okay.
I've been waiting all day.
We have a lot to get through, so I'm just going to start. Obviously, disclaimer, we're hella excited. This is badass. We love this club. Best day ever. Now let's get into it. CJ Fodry stamped Austin's ticket to the Open Cup final after his 120th minute game winner against Minnesota United this Wednesday. This match had everything. Yellow cards, counterattacks, parked buses, stupid heroics, questionable refereeing, and clueless commentators. Let's start from the top, where Austin trotted out a 3-4-3 or defensive 5-back, with Brendan Heinzike being joined by Julio Cascante and Matej Djordjevic, Kolmanic and Dessler filled out the back line. We had Danny and Ilie holding down the midfield, and then a front three of Owen, Uzuni, and Bukhari to lead the attack. Describe the vibes of our many chats after seeing this lineup.
Yeah, so I think the first thing that came to mind was that we're parking the bus and that we're going to mirror Minnesota's style of kind of that counter 5-back that they have, and how they kind of keep what's his name that came off early on, Yeboah as the lone striker up top. Behind the midfield 4. Mm-hmm. And we did the same thing. And I know you were really, really upset about this rotation, so to speak, which I didn't think was necessarily rotation, but I think just a tactical masterclass by Nico Estevez.
In hindsight, right?
Not even in hindsight, brother. I didn't think it was rotation. I think he was up to something, and yeah. He did good, but I feel like you were a little bit more upset about it.
I'd say worried too. Why? Upset.
Yeah, explain to us why you felt that way.
Well, I think the main thing was having Julio and Djordjevic play in this game. So I call the rotation because we had Julio Cascante in the lineup, which hasn't happened since like April or March or something like that. Or it must have been the July game. I think that's what it was. Our last.
Yeah, I thought it was July. Game. Yeah.
Whenever that last shutout was, shutout was, him and Kolmanic started together. But regardless, he's played less than 500 minutes this year or something like that. And so I call it the rotation, meaning we're seeing differences from our normal starting lineup that we've become accustomed to in the second half of the season, where we have Ilie, who is a spot starter here and there, of course, but Ilie starting,
Mhm.
Coleman starting, who I'm not mad at that. It's just a change that, Bidu is the guy. Bidu is the guy
I agree.
at left back. So it was just curious to see so much change, having not done this in 6 months, when we were playing with a five back a little bit more early in the season. So worried more so. Not necessarily upset. I was a little hyped in the moment, like, bro, why is Julio in the starting lineup? I
Hmm.
don't understand why we're choosing this match to make this change. But
Yeah.
um, I mean, it worked out. We'll get to that. But yeah,
Yeah.
a little worried. I mean, to be completely transparent, I was definitely like, yo, okay. Like, we're
Right.
making a
Yeah.
lot of change.
I agree. I agree. Yeah, I think for all of the worry that you had, I think I also echoed some of that as well. I felt like with Cascante, which I mean, his performance was probably one of his best in Verde
Mm.
yesterday,
He came in clutch.
and such a big second half for him. But yeah, I was like, oh gosh, there's a lot of names here that I was like, I'm not too sure, but I mean, again, just tactical masterclass, the way
Yep.
we figured that out and played like we started off the season, countering, with a little bit less of that possession early on, but
Yeah,
then able to find and spring on the counter. It was great stuff.
it
But
was.
yeah,
Well, to that point, neither team wanted anything to do with the ball for the first 45, really throughout the whole match, but eventually
right.
someone had to have the ball. So the first half, saw little going offensively,
Hmm.
leading to a combined one goal or one shot on target coming in the fourth and final minute of stoppage time, where Bukhari broke away on the counter to slot the ball through the legs of Dan St. Clair and put Austin up 1-0 going into the half. How did you feel about the first half as a whole going into the break? Obviously, we had the goal literally at the death, so that elevated vibes. But for the first 45, what were your feelings?
Yeah, I think it was really stressed, just to be watching from afar here in town. But I think for me, what it was watching Robin Lod and
Mm-hmm.
Joaquin Pereira just running around and causing all sorts of trouble for our back line. And with the addition of that third center back, it was puzzling to me to see Robin Lod get so many chances and opportunities inside the
Yeah.
box early on. And I think that was just something that we had to get used to quickly inside of that first half
Yeah.
because, I mean, they had a few chances in the first 20 minutes or so. And we were very lucky and fortunate to not concede during that stretch. But once we figured it out and were able to break their lines and get our ball over the top from their defensive line and spring Bukhari on. I
Yeah.
mean, that was exactly what we were waiting for, and we
Mm-hmm.
executed it to perfection. And so I think it was much better by the end of the first half. And then obviously we reset second half. I think Minnesota came in really strong, and we were fortunate to kind of keep it where it was with the game in front of us. But
Yeah.
yeah, what did you feel about the first half?
I mean, I think the Lude shutout is worthy of mention because he was juggling the ball through our defense, like in the air, bouncing it off his feet, off his knee, and then hitting half
Yeah.
volleys into shots. And that's always worrisome. That first 25 minutes or so, I was nervous the whole game, but I was especially nervous then because I still wasn't confident in the back three. Just
Hmm.
we the lewd
It's new.
chances,
Yeah, it
the
makes sense.
chances, right? It was new. So it was lots of anxiety of like, oh shit, like I think I texted y'all like I am locked and loaded with the three center backs for what text messages once we give
Right.
up a goal here because it was pretty nonstop. I think the game, or I think our confidence definitely shifted in the 27th minute or so when Yeboah does fall with that injury because yeah, it's a change of game plan for Minnesota, right? That's their
100%.
their goal leader since Oluwase left, and he's been consistently producing for them throughout the year. And so
Hmm.
him going down with injury and having to come out, um, and what was his name? Jefferson Diaz. Is that the sub's name? Was that it? Whether the sub was.
Something Diaz. Yeah, number 8
Okay.
for them. Hmm.
Yeah, sub comes on. Commentators are saying, "Oh, he doesn't have the same pace as Yeboah. They're going to have to shift things." And Lude had to become more of a facilitator rather than a attacker at that point. Yada yada.
Hmm.
So I think from that point on, I felt a lot better. Obviously, Bukhari getting the breakaway, great pass from Owen Wolf to get him into space, and great placement to nutmeg St. Clair there. Emphasis on the nut because that shit just nailed him right in the crotch and pounced him
Right,
to
bro.
goal. So, you know, uh, yeah, first half, you know, stress, then we feel good.
And can we talk a little bit about the like the indignation from what's his name, Tony Miola, on that supposed like red card that should have been for Bukhari for kicking out at what's his bitch ass name,
Yeah,
Anthony Markinich.
yeah, kicking
That
back to him.
dude, bro, he was such an asshole, and I am so glad. I'm so glad that Bukhari got his goal. Because that was just the sweet, sweet karma
Yep.
of, you know, having to deal with that kid, that punk,
Yeah,
if you will.
I
And
appreciated the way. I mean, yeah, there was some questionable calls, obviously, like not cards not called, cards that were called, red cards
sure,
not given, penalties, etc. But I do appreciate that, you know, in a semifinal matchup, the referee didn't make it about him and just let the guys play.
sure, yeah,
Um, I think in hindsight, looking back at it, it's like, oh yeah, the referee just managed the game all right. He's not going to give red cards. There was a moment where Danny had already gotten the yellow, and he pulls the dude
mm-hmm,
down on the edge of the box, and you see the ref kind of reach for his pocket, and then sees it's Danny, and is like, ah, dude, discipline yourself, okay,
right,
or else it's a red card. But you know, he let them play and gave players benefit of the doubt, so we got a good contest. So
yeah.
yeah, but also Tony Miola was annoying me the whole game.
Yeah, him and Chris Whittingham, dude, I can't stand Chris respectfully. And I mean, I get to say this as a fan, and I'm not, you know, a reporter by any means, but just his level of bias for some clubs and
Yeah,
against clubs, it's just one of those things like, how are you in this field and you're that opinionated?
yeah,
Um, but I digress. You know, it's my city that moves on to
yeah.
the final, and I know we're going to talk about the second half here in a second, but
Let's do it right now.
um, yeah, just those two,
So,
man.
known Austin hater Joaquin Pereira, who's been mentioned multiple times already, wrapped a
Hmm.
nasty free kick around the wall to tie the game up in the 68th minute. Uzuni and Bukhari had a number of chances to win the game regulation, but St. Clair and the Wonderwall secured extra time and another 30 minutes minimum of anxiety for the viewers. After a number of substitutions highlighted by John Gallagher, Diego Rubio, and CJ Fodre in the attack, Austin seemed to be staring down the barrel of penalties yet again in this competition. How are you feeling as we approach the end of extra time and penalties?
I didn't think it was going to go to penalties. I had a feeling
Love it.
that either way, it was going to end in this 30-minute extra time period. Either they were going to come out swinging because the way I was just seeing Joaquin Pereira just continue to run around like the Energizer Bunny, I was like, this is frustrating me to see
Yeah,
him just absolutely touching the ball all over the place. But we were still able to you know keep him at bay, and our subs came in and delivered. You know,
yep,
I want to give a special shout out to Basard Savovich, you know, because I feel like he did a lot of the dirty work when he came in, and it was not the cleanest of games from him. I have yet to see a full clean performance from the moment he comes on the pitch, but
yeah,
he did enough. You know, he did his job
it is.
in relieving Ilie, and I think it helped set the team up for the eventual game winner.
Yeah,
And so, yeah, everyone in Verde deserves our applause. You know,
hmm
but especially those subs, man. And I think Nico, you know, it felt like it was like, oh my gosh, you know, why is he waiting so long for these subs? You know, I saw a lot of people
yeah,
that were clamoring for him, but I think he was smart with it. He was reserving it, waiting for the last possible minute, and it worked out.
yeah. It definitely a choice that is, in hindsight, the right choice, right? Because we end up winning the game and before penalties. But when we were looking at the 118th, 119th minute, and we hadn't done much with the ball to
Mm-hmm.
create a chance in a minute, uh, with all these subs, and I was thinking that, okay, well, looking at who we have on the field, we have 2-3 minutes left in this game, and really the only guys I trust are, of course, Stuver, but then Diego Rubio, Uzuni, and maybe like a John Gallagher Fodry kind of guy that has the
Mm-hmm.
calm, cool collectedness to slot a penalty. And I was looking at Bukhari on the bench and Owen Wolf on the bench and others that I was like, oh, well, we could use that right now. Use
Sure.
their skill. Robert Taylor, those kind of guys. I'm like, yeah, they could. I trust them to slot a penalty in a big moment.
Hmm.
And I was a little nervous, but in the final seconds of the match, something magical happened.
Austin might have taken penalties before this game started, but it's a good ball for Gallagher. Final chance. Lifted into that area. Uzuni's header! Save from St. Clair! Fondre volleys in! There's your unlikely hero! CJ Fondre with his second career goal, and it sends Austin FC to the Open Cup final!
Unlikely winner indeed, right? CJ Fodry coming through for us in the 120th minute. Relive the moment for us, Paul, because this was a magical time.
It was just one of those moments where I was stood up, these final 5 minutes of the extra time period, and I was kind of sweating through my feet a little bit. I mean, it was just one of those anxious moments. It's past my bedtime.
Yeah, it was,
and I'm just like, what are we doing here? But I'm trying to remember. It was Diego Rubio that plays that ball across to Gally.
Correct.
And I think it might have been his first, if not his second, forward pass of his entire game on the field. But he just gently redirects that ball in towards the box. And Uzuni, bless his heart, man, he had been running and hustling all game.
Yeah.
And I know it hasn't always come into him, but he gets that first hit on the ball with his head, forces Dane to make the first save, but then Fodre's there and cleans it up with a nice little like sidewinder hit.
Yeah.
And the way I just shouted in my 3rd-story apartment building, forgetting that I'm not in a single family household, it was incredible, man. And just at the death, I mean, I was so glad that I stayed up and watched it. And shout out to all the traveling fans that were there. You could hear the Murga folks that were there playing. So shout out Murga, shout out LV and Anthem and Pollo and all them, man. I mean, we brought this thing back to Austin, and it's going to be so awesome to see everyone back at home on October 1st.
And it was an amazing end to that game. Just right. I know CJ Fodry likes to talk about his first 2 goals now in the last few weeks. He's blacked out both times in celebration. And I in the moment, of course, I'm pacing. We're kind of just fretting, and we score. And I like jump off the couch screaming, do my just spaz moments. I threw out my shoulder a little bit. I literally went upstairs after, and I was like, damn, Maggie's like, we won. And I was like, we did.
Yeah. I feel it.
Yeah, I feel it. Literally like swinging and just, fist pumping and whatnot. And we jump on a FaceTime with Lojo and scream a little bit. And then my phone died. And so I'm just like screaming to nothing. It was hard to go to bed after that because it was past my bedtime too. I had to wake up early for work, and Maggie's already waiting. Like, I got to go to sleep.
Right.
But she's sitting there just wired in bed for like 20 minutes. Like, I can't go to sleep right now.
All the content, bro. All the content for 15 minutes afterward.
Just scrolling for a minute.
How it is.
No, it was incredible though. And shout out Fodre for, just the clinical finish, and he nutmegged Dane St. Clair a second time with that. Bukhari nutmeg for goal 1, this nutmeg for goal 2. Incredible into that game. And with that, as you mentioned, Austin will host Nashville for the Open Cup final at Q2 Stadium on October 1st. If you didn't opt out, your tickets will be in on Friday. So today, the day the episode comes out, for season ticket holders. So I think it's only $32 that they're charging, which is a steal for a domestic cup final. So that's awesome. The winner of this match will receive $600,000 in prize money and a guaranteed berth to the 2026 CONCACAF Champions Cup, where we've been before. And I'd like to be again, but this time with a different story. So shout out the boys. In just 2 weeks' time, we'll be talking about this again in back-to-back episodes. So, stay ready because we are.
That's right.
Anything else you want to say about this match or Open Cup?
I just really quickly want to add that this game means so much because, one, it puts Austin squarely on the map now in terms of just the media and how they view Austin FC.
Great point.
You can kind of tell that, like, yes, we were going up against a second in the West team with Minnesota United, but now we've made our way through, all the way up to the final for this Open Cup. And whether, folks want to say like, oh, well, it wasn't all MLS included or whatever, it's still kind of an asterisk cup. I don't think that one bit. We had to face some tough opposition to get here. And so if you're an Austin fan, you should feel really good because like we've just earned some respect, some mad respect, winning on the road in a tough place in Minnesota. To get
we did.
To get to this final, man. And like, we better start seeing the narrative kind of start to change a little bit. But it's one thing to get there. It's another to win it. So hopefully we can add some more respect in that manner. But man, it's going to be awesome.
It really is. We're going to go back in time a little bit here just because we haven't talked about it, and it's worth noting. With a little halftime chat about the loss at FC Dallas. So looking over to league play, Austin sit in 7th place with 41 points, or at 41 points after falling 2-0 in Frisco. This loss extends our winless streak to 5 years without a win at Toyota Stadium. That's our entire existence as a club. Dallas opened up the game with 2 shots on target in the first 90 seconds, forcing a Stuver save before Peter Musa found the back of the net off of a beautiful back heel pass from Logan Farrington, L1. What could Austin have done differently to control the pace of the game in the open minutes?
I mean, you gotta double team Petar Musa, bro. Like, since he has come into the MLS, brother has 6 goal involvements against Austin FC alone, dude. Like, I don't know what it is about us, bro, but he's like committing hate crimes against the Verde at this point, and we still haven't figured it out. And I just think it's one of those things that, especially early on, I guess they just really were gunning for it. They recognized that we were coming in with a little bit of form. And so, I think it's good on them to recognize that and punch us in the face early. But
that they did.
Yeah, not a whole lot you can do about it.
You got to mark on 1-2, right? It's that simple, right? Musa gets the ball, holds it up physically, lays it off, and immediately runs behind our defense. We've been doing this thing, I guess, all year, but it's really coming to I've noticed it the last few weeks where we try to do these offside traps in places where we might not, or it's not fully communicated, right? This happened in the Minnesota match where they almost scored at the end of the game. And it happened in this FC Dallas match where I think it was Heinzike or Svatok tries to make a big jump forward as Musa makes that run, but then Beto and Heinzike, or the other center back, both weren't in position for that. So they let him on, and he's just one-on-one with Stuber, which is never going to go well. So, you just got to guard a 1-2 is all it comes down to. I mean, Musa, like you said, he dunks on us. He's dunked on the whole league. I think he's at over 30 goal involvements in less than 2 seasons with the club, which is great for a DP striker. So, and what makes it worse is like we allowed another shot on target just a few minutes later, and that Stuber had to save again. That should have been a goal, and it just was perfectly placed right in the Stuber's lap, right in front of him off a header. Running back the highlights to the first 25 minutes of the game, of highlights of this game, were all Dallas creating chances on goal. And Austin's first highlight was from a 30th minute opportunity we had, I think a free kick or something. And so, it's a tough way to start a game. And it was an interesting prelude to what we might have expected against Minnesota, because Austin fell victim to a counterattack, right? Which is something we've done consistently against Dallas in our history, and something that was a worry ahead of the Minnesota matchup, because that's what they do. They park the bus and they run. So in the 50th minute, after a spell of possession, pushed the Austin midfield and backline higher and higher up the field. The theme was recurring at this point, where we just fall for it again and again, and allow these counterattacks to be dangerous and put Stuber in tough positions. So it seemed to me that the guys weren't prepared for the pace in which Dallas would counter throughout the game, but especially coming out of halftime. I don't know. Would you agree with that, or is that a little overspoken?
No, I feel like there's some degree of truth there. And I think in your next point that you're about to share, this kind of balance between how to prepare for this current match against Dallas, and also thinking ahead to the match in Minnesota. I think I would say that Nico and the team at large struggled to figure out the right balance there. But I agree with that it was it was a running theme throughout the season that we get pulled into those quick counter traps. And so,
Yeah.
yeah,
Maybe I wonder if that. I would imagine Nico's not one to just change everything for the Open Cup semifinal on a dime. But I wonder if this match had anything to do with, or to like confirm his decision of, yeah, we're rocking a 3-back against Minnesota. It has to
sure.
happen. We need
Yeah.
the extra support there. I wonder.
Yeah.
Nico made early use of his subs, right? Bringing off Bukhari, Owen, and Beto, most notably, in what was likely an effort to save their legs for the Open Cup. I think for me, we can chalk this game up to preparing for Wednesday and maybe a little nerves and just looking ahead a game, which I'm not mad at, especially in hindsight, but in general. I mean, we've been talking about this since midsummer. If you're gonna mail in games, like let it be the one before the Open Cup game.
Yeah.
That's a theme that I'm okay with, because Open Cup means it's fewer. I think you said something along the lines of like only a couple games in Open Cup will get you to CCC and will get you extra money and will get you notoriety. Whereas, you still have 5 games at this point in the regular season to stay in the playoff hunt, which we're firmly in. So I think you throw everything at these Open Cup games, and maybe games like Dallas fall to the wayside. Sure. Do you think the same? What are your vibes with that?
Yeah, no, I mean, it's one of those things where you got to look at that schedule because, not looking at Dallas so much now, but looking ahead, thinking of our opponent at Nashville. I mean, whenever they have their final against us on the 1st, their game before that is against Houston, right? And so I feel like that's just one of those things where if Houston can do us a solid and tire them out and wear them down, that's again to your point where we've got to figure out that balance of like how can you manage these players and their energy and their efforts, before big matchups. And so, I think for this, it's just a matter of making sure that we're doing our part in keeping everyone healthy, rotating as needed. But like you said, we're firmly in that playoff contention. And so it's just a matter of not slipping too far down while we're focusing on our first, major trophy as a club.
Yeah.
But I think we'll be able to manage both.
Well said. And with that, we're going to take a quick break before we look ahead to our next league matchup at home against Seattle this weekend. So be right back with that. And we're back. Austin await a Sunday night kickoff against potential playoff foe Seattle Sounders in another matchup with playoff positioning implications. After 3 weeks on the road, what can Austin do to capitalize on home field advantage?
I think they just need to remind themselves that Seattle has been slipping as of late. I think their last 2 games, they haven't had a win. They drew against Galaxy and they lost 3-1 against Inter Miami. And so if they can make it hard for them, at Q2, it would not surprise me one bit if this is one of those rare occurrences where Austin gets the win over Seattle. It's going to be gritty though, because they are a tough side, and they have Pedro de la Vega. They've got Rothrock and all those guys that were making a name during Leagues Cup.
That they do.
So it's going to be interesting, man. But I think we might be able to do a good 1-0 situation at Q2 on Sunday.
Yeah, I think you carry on that momentum of the Open Cup win and just ride that wave as hard as you can. I mean, the fans. I have a feeling that this game, both by circumstance, it's a Sunday night with no UT game conflict. Also, we just advanced to the Open Cup final, right? Seattle's a very popular team. I think the stadium will be actually full, and people will be actually like hyped, across it, outside of the South End and the North End boys, of course. But I think people will be like noticeably raucous, knowing that like, okay, we're nearing the end of the season. We just had a huge win away. We haven't seen this team at home in a minute. Let's throw down. So I think you ride that momentum. Easier said than done, of course, right? Because this idea that Q2 is a fortress has kind of faltered the last few seasons compared to 2022. But I think you got to come out, throw down, carry this momentum, show Seattle what's up. Because if we win this game, we're a point back on them. in the standings, potentially in 6th or 5th. Well, no, not 5th. I think 6th is as high as we can go. Regardless, we're moving
Yeah.
up. So, and we're right on their tail. So it needs to happen. Brad Stuver and Austin still sit at just 8 clean sheets in league play, needing just one more to set a single season record, which we've talked about many a time since July, and it has yet to happen still. That's okay. We got time. In their last matchup, Seattle's Rothrock, Musovsky, and Ferreira gave Austin a tough time, leading to a 2-0 win for Seattle. What can Austin do to slow this Seattle attack, who are managing 1.8 goals per game in league play?
I think a key player that wasn't listed on there is midfielder Obed Vargas. I think he's a young cat that has been doing really well for them.
Yes.
Yeah, and I think him as well as their academy product, if I'm not mistaken, but Konza Rienzi or something like that. He's like the younger cat that they've brought up. But those are two names that I'm going to be really watching for this game and just making sure that we keep those two at bay, because obviously all eyes are going to be on Ferreira, all eyes are going to be on Rothrock, and Musovsky. But it's the fact that they have capable players across all areas of the pitch, and so if we can limit that, and I would not be upset if we play similar to the styles of games we saw earlier in the season. Like, I'm thinking the way we came out on top against San Diego to hand them their first ever loss in club history. That's kind of how I'm seeing, because they line up in their traditional 4-2-3-1. And so if we're able to kind of counter that, it's going to look good for us. But we have to keep all eyes on all players.
I agree. I mean, it'd be cool to see another 3-4-3 lineup, their 5-back situation, and just let us rock that for a sec, see if it can carry us for a little bit. I think it worked well, I think in a game, I don't know. I think we can continue to develop that in a way where our offense is a little more consistently dangerous.
Right.
Not every team wants to park the bus like Minnesota. They are by far an exception in terms of how they give up possession. So I'd be okay seeing a little bit of that, keep that vibe going. Or we just rock 4-3 and we go back to what we know, and that's cool too. Regardless, I think Julio might get some minutes here soon, whether it's this game or another. I think his performance, we didn't really talk much about that other than just in passing saying it was really good. But I think he had many solid moments in transition that would do well against a team like Seattle. So let's go to predictions. What do you predict for the score this weekend?
Gotcha. I've got us sitting on a cool 1-0 win against Seattle on Sunday. It's gonna be tough, but I think we come out on top. 3 points.
I like it. I think we see this kind of scoring binge that we're on of late. I know that's subjective because we've only scored so many goals this year, but we're scoring more consistently. I think we see that continue, and we see like a 2-1 win, right? Seattle's a high-scoring team. They're a good offense. I think they can bag a goal no matter where they are. So I think a 2-1 win is kind of a realistic prediction where we want to carry that momentum and just mimic the scoreline of the Minnesota game. Let's do it again.
I just really want to set up the single season, clean sheet record with 9. So I think every game from here on out is going to be a clean sheet.
Dude, hold it down.
Because I'm manifesting, bro. That's what I do now.
Man, you got it on your vision board. It says clean sheet X5 for the rest of the year. 6 with Open Cup.
That's right.
Hell yeah. Let's do some stoppage time.
Let's get it.
We have a handful of MLS things that we're going to sprint through just to catch up on all the news that's happening, and then we'll keep it moving. New England Revolution fire head coach Caleb Porter after being eliminated from playoff contention. I don't remember what domino he is in the coaching carousel of fall, but there hasn't been as many, it seems. So, late in the season, thought that was interesting. What'd you think?
Yeah. I think not interesting. I felt like this was always kind of coming probably about midway through like June, July-ish. They've just been struggling, and I think with that hire, it was always kind of like a last-minute grab. And I mean, to hear the fallout that's come out from these players and other folks around the Revolution, I mean, just sounds like this is it's for the better, because apparently he was just not a good man manager. So
yeah.
Yeah.
Yep. Shit happens when your team is bad.
True.
NYCFC won their 15th game of the season, marking the 6th time that they've achieved this mark in the last 10 seasons, which is the most of any MLS team over the stretch. They also, of course, got the MLS Open or MLS Cup in 2021?
I believe so. Yeah, 21.
So, a good stretch for them. Yeah, what are your thoughts on their string of excellence?
Dude, I mean, it's one of those things where I forget about teams in the Eastern Conference, honestly, just because it is such a weird wash out there. But
yeah,
for them to carry on this level of consistency is something that Austin can't say, unfortunately. But
not yet.
Good for them. Yeah, I agree. Not yet, but
yeah,
we'll get there.
It makes it seeing this and then thinking back to what we talked about earlier this year, the investment by the ownership group to open the soccer-specific stadium by 2027 for the club.
Mm-hmm.
It makes sense, right? Of course, they won the cup. They've had success, but like this level of sustained success, and of course, being a part of Citigroup, like that's all. It makes sense that they're making big moves to continue to build on the foundation that they've set.
Yeah,
so
100.
Shit's cool. Hopefully, we can do the same.
For sure.
Newcomers Thomas Muller and Son Heung-min Son, both bagged hat tricks in wins for their clubs. Hell yeah. Imagine.
Thumbs up, man. I wish we could do that in Austin, but you get Mirto Uzuni, everyone. So there you go.
Hey, bro. He runs his ass off.
He sure does, dude. X hands up in the air post shot is insane, bro.
Bro, if another player mid-play throws up their hands and complains from this club, I'm starting to swing. I'm going to throw out my other shoulder, swinging.
Right.
With rage.
Bro, I know I text this to you during the game, but I cannot, for the life of me, understand why he would be so mad when he finds himself in an open position, gets a pass, and then whiffs the shot or misses the shot.
It's a right at the chest.
And then it's like, bro, like that's why you're not getting the ball sometimes. Don't get in a huffy about it. It's like Buka's on a roll right now, so let him take the shot, or something else is happening. Like
being open.
Yeah, maybe make your shots, G. But we love him. We love him.
Yep.
That's our king.
Hey, you know what? We're in the Open Cup final.
Absolutely, dude.
Hell yeah, dude. Last MLS point here. St. Louis City announced that they're moving on from their OG sporting director, Lutz Pfannenstiel. Obviously, they've had a tough run the last couple seasons. Their debut seasons form seemed to be a fluke in the grand scheme of things now that time has passed. So that seemed to be behind the decision. What were your thoughts, though?
It sounds like they're just following the Austin FC, train of, getting rid of your OG, and then hopefully whoever they find next is not as good as Rodolfo Burrell, but
hey, maybe they'll get Claudio Reyna.
That would be hilarious. Now that would be funny, actually. Yeah.
The soccer capital of the country.
Right.
U.S.'s Golden Boys. Why not?
That's true. Yeah.
Why not them?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, when your team is bad, you got to make change somewhere. And
for sure
is always the easiest. So why
and
not?
I gotta say, shout out to Pfannenstiel, man. Whenever I see the PF, it just always brings me back to my roots, Pflugerville. So just PF boy, Paul Fletes, Pflugerville. It is what it is, bro.
He seemed like a cool dude too. I could be wrong. I know he has some controversy in his past.
It's the hair.
Yeah, totally, totally the hair.
Yeah.
Moving over to NWSL, both Houston Dash and San Diego Wave fell 2-0 over the weekend. Houston now sits 3 points out of playoff contention in 10th place, and San Diego is tied with many teams, but sit in 5th based on matchups and goal differentials and whatever else, but almost 3rd. Anyway, tough to see with just a handful of games left. Can Houston pull it off?
It's gonna be tricky, man. We've been saying this, and I will say in Houston Dash fashion, man. This roster always seems to be leaking players. I think the most recent departure was center back Natalie Jacobs, who I actually thought was doing pretty good for the club once she got settled in the back line there. I'll miss her Stegosaurus hairdo.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think we got someone from North Carolina Courage. Can't remember, or I can't remember if it's Courage or Chicago Stars. But anyway, it's just one of those things, man, where it's hard to keep your roster consistent and try to make a solid push for the playoff line. But if we can get a couple wins, man, that'd be great.
Hey,
but not
time.
expecting it.
Yeah, there's time still.
Yeah.
I remember a few months back we were talking about the possibility of, like, depending on if San Diego could keep up their midseason form, Delphine Cascarino might be the dark horse MVP candidate. Like, she was slowly becoming a front runner, and I think that flame has been extinguished finally with this just poor run of games here to end the season.
String,
yeah. But obviously they're still in contention. They could still end up top 3, pretty with just a couple wins. So I'm eager for the playoffs to come around so that they can get some kick in the butt and get that momentum back. So
that's right.
Going elsewhere, but with the right vibes, the San Antonio Spurs held tryouts for a new supporter section that is modeled off of La Murga-esque supporter culture. I picked La Murga because I think that's a more local comparison, but
sure,
what Wemby was pushing as the kind of thought leader behind this, Victor Wembanyama, was the Parisian sports soccer culture,
right?
Like the PSG European sports culture, but it's San Antonio, and they're going to go more La Murga with it, I think, with drums and horns.
Yeah,
and whatnot.
more Latin American vibes to it for sure.
But I thought that was dope.
Yeah.
Hell yeah, dude.
That's awesome. I have no idea what that's going to look like inside of, the, what is that? The Frostbank?
Yeah.
AT&T Arena. AT&T Center. Yeah.
They changed it, but AT&T for life.
Yeah. I don't know what that looks like at an NBA game, I'll be honest, but I think I'm for. I mean, I don't know how I feel about the tryouts for a supporter section. I mean,
the tryouts were funny.
Yeah.
The videos were very Drewski, like Victor Wembanyama on a throne, sitting there, like guys walking up and standing on the tape and talking about their chants or whatever. It was pretty funny.
That's funny. Okay.
So, not to digress too far, but Euro basketball is very much like this. I don't know how many fan bases have drums and whatnot, but like they're more like a soccer stadium where the entire arena is chanting and like doing chants behind, and like the vibes are very high on like high intensity Euro basketball matchups. And so I'm hoping that it becomes something like that, where like the chants that the supporter section lead are very easily caught on, and the whole stadium can do them in the same way you see the standard "Go Spurs, go."
I was gonna say that's the first one that comes to mind.
That kind of stuff, but instead it's a 6-minute jam that everybody's like singing along to, Limburger style.
Nice.
And I think with an enclosed space like a basketball arena, it becomes a little easier for a whole stadium to kind of follow along, because there's screens everywhere to do the chants with, to see the lyrics. There's you can hear it wherever you are because you're in an arena. The sound isn't dissipating. I don't know. It's interesting. We don't have to talk any further, but once it kicks off next month, like we can definitely come back to it, because it's
I'm curious to see how that opens up for sure.
It could be a very fun vibe though. It'd be very unique in the NBA. So
that makes sense.
Yeah. And then always we'll close it out. Well, as always, we'll close it out with Chelsea. Fortunately, the vibes are a little middling right now.
So it's not that bad.
Yeah, no, it's early in the season, early in UCL, but nonetheless, Chelsea fall at Bayern Munich at Allianz to open UCL play. 3-1 loss on the road. And then just before that, they dropped points on the road at Brentford after letting in a stoppage time equalizer. So, not the wins we expected, but thoughts?
Still a young club figuring out how to balance, the upper echelon of European competition with, obviously the best club league in the world, which is the Prem. And so, we're only going to get better, as these players start gelling together. And we got to remember it's still a young club. And the more games that they face like this, speaking specifically to the Bayern match, that's just another notch in the belt for them. But I think they played well at times. Some of that focus kind of seem to slip at, some of those giveaways for, like for instance, the PK or the gift to Kane for his second.
Yeah.
But I don't know. I'm not stressed out about it. It's early in UCL play. We'll definitely get the points that we need to advance over to the knockouts, I'm sure. So
this was the hardest matchup, in my opinion, on paper.
Yeah.
Looking at the group that we're playing, the 8 matches.
Exactly.
Get that one out of the way. And
yeah. And now we get to, face Man United, who are struggling but somehow always end up, giving Chelsea a rout. So let's hope that we can do something fun there.
I think so.
On the weekend.
I think a little chip on your shoulder after a couple tough knocks, and you come back. Cole Palmer had a good game. It was good to see him come back in form. So I think he'll raise the floor of this club significantly, while of course extending the ceiling as well. But
for sure,
the floor will raise after over the next handful of matches, and we keep playing Champions League football again, and people will keep getting more consistent, and then we'll feel good about it. So. All right, let's close this out, man.
Let's do it.
We appreciate y'all kicking it with us on this week's episode of the Verdependent podcast. I'm Logan Bartlett. You can find me at LobarVHLM.
And I'm Paul Fletes. You can find me at Paul Andrew FC. It's a government name.
Keep the chatter going online by following at the Verdependent on socials. Like and subscribe wherever you get your podcasts. And that's an episode, y'all. Peace.
Bye.
Bye. Oh, why are you screaming at me?
Oh my God.